What is good, YouTube? Hopefully you guys can see me okay. Let me go ahead and turn some things on. What's good, y'all? Today we are going to talk about quite a bit. I've been gone for some time now. It's been actually a pretty hectic week. My daughter just started school. My firstborn just started. It's an empty house now because everybody's out kind of doing their little morning errands. It's perfect time to, record a podcast episode, whatever this is. But man, it has been a busy week. And anytime you go through like a busy period, at least anytime we go through a busy period, for me, I need to take a moment. I always feel like I need to take a moment to sort of recreate my workflow, right? What's good, D? But so we've been real busy. We've been real busy. And bruh, I done fell off with my posting schedule. So here's me trying to get back caught up. I appreciate you guys. What's good? Oh, what's good, Malapa? Let me know how to pronounce your name. I know you do all the dope art. What up, Simone? What's good, y'all? I was just trying to get Malapa. I try to get people's names correct. D, Simone, T. Y'all names are pretty easy. What up, though? Yeah, man. It has been a crazy news cycle. And it's weird, man. I feel like, at least what I've been observing, some of what I've seen in the news cycle just seems like people is either like bored or like really angry. Like some of the stories have been a little confusing for me. But we're gonna talk about them today. We're gonna talk about them. I appreciate it, D. My glow. I try not to lose that glow. These little girls, man, 3-1. It's just Pamela jumbled up. No worries. Okay. Oh, okay. That makes sense. But yeah, the energy been off a little bit. It's like every other week there's been somebody that we wanted to cancel. Every other week there's been a new story. And we're gonna start right at the top, y'all. We're gonna start right at the top. You already know we got to talk about Lizzo. I feel like with Lizzo and a lot of these celebrities, I feel like what we're dealing with a lot of the times is more of a microcosm of the eat the rich mentality. Because when you think about Lizzo and the type of ally that Lizzo has been, if Lizzo is out here about to get canceled, it make you feel like everybody, it's like, what's the saying? You're a hero as long as it takes for you to become the villain. Is that the nature of Hollywood? Because what I'm starting to notice, with cancellation is a lot of times cancellation works in hindsight. What you notice is in real time, people are never really, updated with what's right and wrong, because that tends to change, right? Morals and ethics tend to change. So, with a Lizzo, when you got tour culture, when you got dancer culture, when you got cultures that are already pre-established, oftentimes you're not able to see until you're beyond those moments. And that was a little tricky. That was a little sketchy. You know what I'm saying? To send, your team to Amsterdam and, have them enjoying the festivities, in maybe the early 2000s might have been okay. But in 2023, where we're holding people accountable, maybe not. So that's just kind of how I perceive a lot of things. And I think with the way celebrities have the magnifying glass on them, they're 9 times out of 10 gonna be the people that are canceled. I mean, we already don't really give them humanity. This whole year, yeah. Anagram Pam, that is pretty cool. Yeah, y'all like these videos. But so if you guys, I'm sure by now you guys are already aware of the Lizzo allegation, so I don't need to make you guys I don't need to do too much update. But here, let me go ahead and share some stuff with you guys. Let's go ahead and share. This is a lady. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear real quick. Let's quick little test.
This is a story I never intended to tell because I'm the biggest Lizzo fan. I worship.
Were you guys able to hear this? Everybody able to hear in the chat? Give me a thumbs up or a yes. Sound check is good on the video. But yeah, this is pretty sad, man. It's pretty sad. Got a little lag. I'm gonna assume you guys can hear the video though. Let me see.
The ground that she walked. This is a story I never intended to tell because I'm the biggest Lizzo fan. I worship the ground that she walked on. She made me feel like there's representation in the music industry that I was yearning for so long. But it's been 2 years now, and I've held this in for so long, and I feel like I just want to get it off my chest with everything else coming out right now in the media. And you can take whatever I say and make your own decision on it. I'm just going to tell you the facts and my story. I was in the casting process for Lizzo's Watch Out for the Big Girls season 1, and I was in the finals. I got all the way through the stages. It was a lot. There was many steps. You had to do your dance audition videos. You had to send them your whole life story. You met with Lizzo's team. I did a whole interview with them too, and it was an amazing journey. And I was so excited when they presented me with the final agreement and they were planning my flights. Upon getting the agreement, I read through it with my family. I have some lawyers in my family, and they highly advised that I do not sign that agreement. It basically wanted to own you. It wanted to have your life story for eternity. It wanted to own the rights of anything that you put out, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm an independent music artist, so I was highly advised not to sign it. We did end up giving them some red lines. And unfortunately, they gave me a call and told me that all the other girls were signing this agreement and they could not give me special treatment by applying my red lines, and that they wouldn't be able to move forward with me. So it was a really, really hard call for me. I was on the floor sobbing. I thought that that was like my big break, and I just ruined it by not signing that agreement. During the process of when I sent everything over to the audition team and Lizzo's team, I sent 2 of my music videos. One's called Better With You, and one is for my song called Paint Me. And they're both original works of mine. So in this clip from my video, Better With You, I'm in a detention classroom, and I turned this classroom into a disco. We're in the 1970s here, yes. We got the disco ball. I got my dancers behind me. We are doing our thing. You get the vibes here. Then Lizzo drops About Damn Time. We are in a classroom. This is April 2022. Chalkboard that she turns into a disco. And of course, she has a way bigger budget than me. Here she is with her dancers doing their thing with the disco ball. We're in the 70s. And of course, when I saw this, I was just...
Now, you guys, these weren't the actual allegations. It looks like any other time a celebrity gets caught up in a little scandal, people are sort of coming out the floodgates with allegations and stuff. So it looks like here someone's accusing her of copying. That happens a lot, especially with creatives. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but everyone sort of takes inspiration. And I think in that artist world, it's so normal. People do end up swagger jacking. But the actual allegations for Lizzo basically come down to her ridiculing some of her ex-employees about their weight, and then also a sexual assault charge that stemmed from some of her dancers saying that she basically, while they were in Amsterdam, she made some of her dancers eat bananas out of some Amsterdam performers. I don't know if you guys have ever, y'all know how it gets down in Amsterdam, but Amsterdam is they wow. The parties are wild, very sexually promiscuous as well. So, but yeah, those were essentially her allegations. And one thing I can say about being in a position of leadership, one thing that I feel, or at least I felt from this case, was that this was someone that was in a position of power that may or may not have known their responsibilities, right? It's one thing if you're in a position where you got your crew, you got your coworkers, your employees, and you want to send them out in the town for a night of drinks, right? Or you got your dancing crew in this instance. But to take them out and to blur those lines where it's like you're kind of encouraging them to do things, but they don't know if their position is contingent on them doing things that you ask. You always got to be very, very careful, especially as a person in a position of leadership. Do I think that Lizzo Me, do I think that Lizzo is out here forcing people to eat bananas? You know, I can't see it. I can't see it, but you know, I'm not the 100% on my judge of character either. So Simone says, "Is it bad that I believe the victim, sort of, kind of, but I'm standing beside Lizzo?" Nah, that's one thing about a lot of these stories. A lot of these stories and stuff that are coming out, to me, it's like we all sort of want to be on the right side of history. We all want to sort of make the right bet, but you should not be feeling any sort of pressure about picking a side. If you're confused, be confused, stay in the middle, and let that be what that is. We don't know these people for real. So it's like I am rooting for Lizzo because of all the positive example that I feel like she has given, some young girls. But I'm also sort of like, you also want to be on the side of the victims as well. And, can't really do both, but I think that's about as close to nuance as you can be until you get all the facts, right? But that's the Lizzo news. I think it's sad, but again, I think as the pendulum continues to swing with quote unquote cancel culture, as we start to, learn, better ways to be more diverse and inclusive in environments, as we just improve our behaviors overall in the workplace. Okay, I don't know. I don't want to keep scrolling because as y'all can see, Twitter kind of wild. But that's essentially the Lizzo news, y'all. I hope Lizzo is able to bounce back from the situation because, like I said, she does a lot of positive for these girls out here. But speaking of something that's not positive, Montgomery, they're calling it the Boston. Boy, y'all see me over here struggling. Montgomery Brawl. Now y'all all have heard about the Montgomery Brawl by now, man. We'll go ahead and show a picture of this. This is.
I thought I'll see this shit happening real.
This is pretty terrible. We don't really need to hear the video because we can see the play-by-play. I know y'all can see this now. One thing about us, y'all. Especially us, and I don't know if y'all know about Alabama. Most people think about Alabama and they think sweet home. Most people, that's what they think about when they think about Alabama. But, as a person who's got both sides of his family from Alabama, mom and dad side, all from Gaston, Litchfield, Glencoe area, not too far from Birmingham. We don't play about our own in Alabama. When you talk about them southern areas are some of the last areas in the world, Craig, where you got that old school, we look after our own southern hospitality. And you can see here in this video, the way that they hop, skipping, and jumping to this battle, they were ready. Not only were they ready, they were excited to commence with the ass whooperage. Like it's not. Buddy is grabbing at the boat. Y'all see Buddy in the back grabbing on the boat? They are on that ass. And, it's funny. It's funny because, we just got done talking about how people, how one of the biggest, I think, sources of tension in the country right now is like Americans, especially through, our socioeconomic struggles. People really want to eat the rich. But another growing tension in this country is the racial divide. And in America, y'all, I'm 31 years old. And, I'm a part of the generation that grew up watching the My Friend Martins, all the slavery documentaries. But I'm talking about the free group, amongst the people that have never really we've never lived in a overtly racist world, right? So we came out seeing all this stuff like, look, I wish somebody would try me, right? We were the 90s babies are the ones that had we were the ones that were like, nah, they couldn't do me like that. Massa put his shackles on me, da 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 da. And a lot of that's what you're seeing right here now. You're seeing 90s babies, adults who have been sort of brewing with a little, I'm gonna say a race war, but they've been waiting for somebody to try it. I know y'all, everybody in the chat probably has met a person in the past. Everybody in the chat has probably met somebody in the past who looked like they were just waiting for a fight. That's this guy right here. Watch this. Look at this dude right here with this chair. Godly. He didn't have to do that. Come on, let's get another replay real quick. He is mollywopping people with this chair. You don't wake up. Bruh, he's been waiting to fight. That man with that chair, like, look, the cops was gonna let him get some. The cops was like, look, bro, we're gonna let y'all get y'all a little pound of flesh, but you can't be walking around hitting people with chairs. Nah, you need to be off the streets. Lady getting pushed. It's funny, dog. It's funny. But we all know that person, though. We all know that person that's just been waiting. And I feel like 90s babies and even maybe some of them older folks, some of our parents, they have been waiting to get back for slavery and civil rights and all them awkward moments when we had to be sitting in them classrooms with them documentaries. We not playing that no more, man. And if you know about, places like Gaston, Alabama, where they got all the Southern hospitality and they got numbers, folks are not playing. Folks will be in your chest like a blackhead. Well, let me go ahead and get out of here. What's the folks on Twitter talking about? Montgomery, they call it the Riverboat Brawl. I've heard people call it the Montgomery Tea Party. I mean, now everybody... The chair has become a phenomenon, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Interestingly enough, god damn, boy, I need my coffee. The Montgomery location is actually a very historic civil rights location as well. Those of you guys who know about Montgomery and a lot of the civil rights movement and everything that went through there, a lot of the bombings and things like that. There was also a celebration of the ancestors, I think, that was going on. There was a group there on that boat or around that boat that was doing some sort of celebration for the ancestors. So needless to say, this area is very much charged with we ready to whoop that white ass. I'm just tell you that right now. And the chair memes, this chair has now become a moment in Black history. You can best believe that this chair is now going to be a part of our history, a part of meme history for the foreseeable future, right? I've already seen calendars where this is a trademark event, you know what I'm saying, of 2023. Shout out to the little boy who swam, then was, bruh. Oh my God. Y'all don't even realize, bro, to be able to swim, get yourself out of a dock or pull yourself out of the water, fully clothed with water in your pockets, and then commence to doing more high intensity training, whooping some ass, bro. It's crazy. It's crazy. He was out there like Superman. Chair memes got kind of corny, ain't gonna lie. The chair memes. The funny thing about the chair memes is it goes back to what I was saying in the very beginning. People are bored, man. People are bored. So they're rushing to the memes. They're rushing to create content. And, creating content these days has an incentive for everybody involved. That's another reason why I was sort of theorizing my conspiracy theorist corner, why cancellation is so cool, because for the internet economy, it sort of keeps things going. When you talk about podcasts or things like this, where, people specifically react to the craziness that goes on in the world, like there's millions in ad revenue associated with that. Right now, this isn't a monetized channel, but there's a lot of people out there who are profiting off of just talking about stuff like this. Right. And memes are a very clear-cut example of, you get somebody to make a dope meme or a catchy meme or one that goes viral, that's their following right there of one viral meme. So, there is very much an economy of outrage. There is an economy of clicks and engagement, and salacious news is what does it. All right. Now, speaking of salacious news, go ahead and get out of here, man. This is Jamie Foxx story, right? I've been really perplexed about this whole thing. And I don't really want to hear too much. Let me see. Jamie Foxx statement. They killed. I'm gonna be very careful of what I'm saying on here because we are live, and a certain that group that people shall not speak of. I don't know if you guys are any Harry Potter fans out there. The name that shall not be spoken, the Voldemort, whatever name, them folks have a lot of power. Because I feel like I've heard this line: they killed Jesus, and so if they killed Jesus, you know what I'm saying? They'll definitely kill you. Fake friends all around. Black folks, we have heard that line. I ain't gonna get canceled some more. I promise I won't. Black folks have been hearing that line, at least in my mind, in the mainstream, like all of childhood. Like anytime you deal with trials and tribulations, anytime you deal with haters, that's like the standard line that we use. Yo, you talking about you mad about your haters. Jesus Christ had haters. And if they hated Jesus, what you think they're going to do to you? It's like, that's always been a thing. Right? Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. They who shall not be named. Yeah, but that's been a saying in our community for a long time, right? And so here you have it. They killed, lied on, talked about Jesus simply means if Jesus can be betrayed, so can you. He genuinely meant that. That's the basic sentiment, right? Now, the problem with that is that there's also groups, and this is something that I've just been made aware of, right? Jennifer Anniston, it looks like she took some clickbait from an article, right? She took some clickbait from an article that essentially said that Jamie Foxx's statements were anti-Semitic, right? Now, the anti-Semitic aspect of the statement being the they and the killing of Jesus part, right? Anyone who is familiar with a lot of the anti-Semitic remarks, anyone who is familiar with those knows that a lot of that rhetoric is centered around pointing at Jews as sort of being, and again, the name that shall not be spoken, but I just said it. But speaking of them as basically the world's enemy. The people that did this, they own this, they do the blase, blase, blah. There's a lot of anti-Semitic rhetoric around that. And that statement being one of them being, hey, these are also the people on top of everything else, all the other wickedness. These are the people that are also, credited with killing your savior. Right. The problem with that is it's a divide. It's a cultural divide. Because while there may be some groups out there that are using that and weaponizing that term or that segment of the sentence, we not doing that. I don't know. I mean, I don't know of us. I do know that there's, the Black Israelite groups. I do know, groups like Louis Farrakhan, who I did grow up actually kind of watching, because, through my uncle and, them being Black Panthers and Muslims. But for the most part, Black people aren't like seething with anti-Semitism. We don't be coming for, Jewish folk like that. In fact, most of my favorite like entertainment comes from, them folks. I mean, Adam Sandler's, the Seinfelds, that whole little Adam Sandler's whole little, acting web. I'm a huge fan of. I'm pretty sure the Seth Rogens and they whole thing, so that just hasn't been our bag, the anti-Semitic, Semitic bag. So, the fact that Jamie Foxx of all people could say something that has a very clear connection to our culture, for it to be subtly, viewed that way, even by Jennifer Aniston, partially, is a little perturbing, because it gets to the point where you're kind of like, well, damn, what can we say? And I think, as you scour Twitter, as you scour Twitter, what you've kind of found out is that the people aren't really, they're not claiming that Jamie himself is anti-Semitic. They're just saying that, hey, the statement itself is anti-Semitic because people have used it in that way. So you just have to make sure that you apologize, because even though you didn't intend for that to be the case, you just should be aware that it could be considered insensitive. And Jamie, being the diplomatic person that he is, he came out and apologized because he didn't want to offend anybody. I definitely understand why he did it, but it's like I said, it's a little wild, man. It's a little wild. Here y'all can see a little breakdown of the video. Oh snap!
Fuck you. Oh, fuck you.
I don't think we can say the F word.
Fuck you.
Yeah, this Jennifer liked it.
Fuck you. Oh, fuck you.
Yeah, that's basically the events that kind of happened. Jennifer Anniston ended up liking the post. Here we go. So basically, Jamie Foxx made the post. Jennifer Aniston liked the post, as you can see here right up underneath. Someone came for her. Did you really like a very anti-Semitic post? I don't even want to search up this Instagram page, but who is this? Is this a bot? Is this a real person? But clearly she responded to it, went ham, overcorrection, right? You can see here, this really makes me sick. I did not like this post on purpose, blase, blase, blah. So of course she's speaking down on Jamie for his post. Jamie, of course, down here saying F you. This was but that's essentially the series of events that occurred. So I don't have too much more on that aspect of it, because we know, like I said, I'm not trying to perpetuate any Semitism here. Obviously, we know that we want to give and extend humanity to all people. But that also should include Black folks. Black folks and our terms and our phrases, we shouldn't have to be double, triple explaining to folks who are misunderstanding us and who really don't want to understand us to begin with. And when it comes to, situations like these, I do think it's unfortunate that Jamie Foxx felt he had to apologize, being in that Hollywood realm. Because if you didn't do something deliberately, if it wasn't your intentions to offend somebody, the fact that somebody needs to feel good about making you, or the fact that somebody feels like they have the right to make you apologize, is a little wild. And I don't know. Like I said, Jamie and Jennifer seems like they were cool. So it just, these people, it feels like they should just be able to get on the phone with each other, but I guess not. Now, I'm gonna tell you somebody who did not apologize, right? Now, I'm not gonna get too far into these details, because this is one of those topics, y'all, and I'm gonna be real. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just go ahead. Let's go ahead and just play the video. I'm gonna just play this video. Okay, let's go ahead and play the video.
Opinion on this matter.
Right.
I am a 43-year-old hetero.
All right, I'm gonna play this video, and then I'll give you my responses. Okay.
First and foremost, I do not apologize for having an opinion on this matter. I am a 43-year-old heterosexual man raising 5 boys and 2 girls. Okay, that's my reality. Now, if my opinion offended somebody, yeah, sure, I apologize for you being offended, because that wasn't my intention. My intention is never to offend anybody. However, I'm entitled to feel how I feel. I'm absolutely entitled to feel how I feel, the same way you are entitled to feel how you feel. I ain't asked nobody to follow me. I ain't asked nobody to agree with me. I was asked a question, and I answered the damn question, okay? I have no beef with the LGBTQIA plus community whatsoever. I ain't got no beef with y'all. Do whatever the hell it is you want to do. Do what you want to do with your kids. However, somebody asked my opinion on this matter, and this is how I feel. I will never be okay with allowing a child to make a decision that detrimental to their life. I will never be okay with that. I don't care. I definitely plan to educate myself a little bit more on this matter. However, I doubt that there's any book anywhere or any opinion that somebody's going to tell me that's going to make me okay with letting a child make a decision like that. That's just period, point blank, and that's how I feel. If I get canceled for this, then you know what? Maybe this is a world where they don't need a Neyo no more, all right? And I got no problem with that. I'm a hustler, all right? I'll figure it out. I got kids to raise, and I'm going to do that regardless. So with that being said, y'all have a good day. I love everybody. Live how you want to live, love how you want to love, but your opinion is yours. Speak your opinion as much as you damn well feel like it. Because as I said, they're not important, they're not special. Everybody got one, and you're entitled to it. I'm entitled to mine. All right? Y'all feel how y'all want to feel. Have a great day. It's Neyo. Peace and love.
Now, y'all, I know. So for a lot of you guys, now, if you don't know about the Neyo story already, essentially what happened with Neyo was he was on a podcast with Gloria Velez. All right. Now, Gloria Velez and Neyo were having a conversation, and somehow it got on the subject of LGBTQ and the trans movement. Right. And in that, Neyo essentially is going off. Right. He's going off on, his sentiments against treating children with hormones or drugs, and a lot of, I would say, his sort of soliloquy, and because they kind of got into a rant. Neyo so random like Neyo boy boom. My bad. Yeah, I'm all over the place, Simone. But I forget, and see, you made me forget exactly where I'm at too, man. It's early morning. I need my coffee. But essentially in that interview, he goes off. He goes off saying, if my child wants to be a spider, I'm not going to let him be a spider. My child shouldn't have the ability to decide what he wants. I don't let him decide what he eats, dresses, and da-da-da-da. So why would I let my child make a decision like that? It impacts his life. And the problem is a lot of the conversation centered around children receiving, hormones or treatment. A lot of it has been circulated specifically to continue conversations to be on the more transphobic side. So a lot of times what happens is, in order to get people to consistently show basically to get people to consistently speak against something, a lot of times it really helps to instill fear. And fear, the easiest way to instill fear in the American population is to basically tell them that people are coming after their kids, right? And so within the LGBTQ community, these sort of talk tracks, the talk track of, hey, they're coming after your kids, are looked at very harshly as transphobic sentiments, right? And so that's why Neyo has his backlash. One thing I'll say about this conversation, and I think this is a very nuanced conversation. I think it's one that requires a professional to be around. It's one that should be handled delicately and responsibly, right? I think in the Black community, I think it's very important to remember that we are all more socially conservative than anything, right? And when you think about changing a culture, I think it's in a lot of ways analogous to trying to steer a very large ship, very large vessel, right? It takes time. And when you talk about the LGBTQ and particularly the trans movement, for a lot of people, myself included, there's a lot left to learn, right? And so there's a lot of people who are ignorant to the realities of, the trans movement. And quite frankly, there's probably even more people that don't really want to know, so they're just kind of reluctant to accept that change. And me personally, I do think there is a level of grace that has to be given to those people because a lot of those people look like me. But for two, I think as a fundamental principle, we all should be making sure that we're extending humanity to all people. I think it's okay not to understand. It's okay to maybe not agree with something personally for your life. But I think that you should still be able to extend people humanity. I can't I'm not here to say that I understand the trans movement 100% completely. I'm not even going to try to explain it because I don't think I would do it justice. But what I am committed to anyone in my audience or anyone that I know that is trans is to extending them humanity, to respect their pronouns, and to really create the environment that's comfortable for them. And I think for me, you know, maybe because I'm you know, I'm not a, I don't know, bro. I just don't I don't be thinking about this. I'm busy. That to me, it's not a problem. To me, it's not a problem to extend those things. Um, However, I do see how for people with children, you know, there are certain opinions that you may maintain as well, as a result of seeing, you know, the trans movement. There might be, it's okay, I think, also to want to have certain things separate from your children, or to want to wait to explain certain things to your children, right? I don't think there's a problem there either. I think, like most things on social media, there's just not a lot of space for nuance. There's not a lot of space for us to have these very real, tough, complicated conversations. And I think as a result, you know, we get into this muckraking contest where it's like, yo, transphobe versus non-transphobe. When really it's like, yo, a person living a lifestyle that I'm not familiar with and a person who may not understand it. You know, how can we bridge that gap? She's like, yeah, I meant Neyo. I would think I would be the last person to speak so harshly on self-expression in the youth. Yeah. What do you mean extend you? Either you stand for something or against it. There is no middle ground. What do you mean extend humanity to people? Either you stand for something or against it. No, I disagree. I disagree. I think this is the problem. And I think this is very much war room rhetoric, right? And war room rhetoric, I think, would make sense if we, you know, needed to declare a victor, right? But in this instance, we're talking about, I would say, a social science anthropological endeavor where we're watching a human population in a non-homogeneous society try to figure and sort itself out. And on a high level, what you're now starting to witness is first world, late stage capitalist societies engaging in, I would almost, it's not fourth dimension, but it almost comes across as like questioning the fabric and dimensions of our reality. And I think rather than looking at it like I need to make a stance today, it's accepting the nuance of this is going to be a process to figure out where we're going as a human population. And it's okay. It's okay to say that you don't know. It's okay to say that you don't agree. But when you say extend humanity to people, it means straight up, yo, I don't have to hate somebody that is living this life differently. I don't have to hate somebody that's adopting a different philosophical principle for right and wrong, right? I don't have to hate anybody. I don't have to look at them as less than. I don't have to look at them like I don't need to feel anything. All I really need to do is make sure I protect me and mine. And I understand that's more of a siloed thought. But my responsibility is to my immediate family. People worry too much about trying to address the changes in the world, but locally in your individual family situation is really all you have control over. And that you don't even have control over. So for me, you know, extending humanity is all about extending people grace, and understanding that people are all working through the things that they're working through. He said, I think we put the LGBT in a box. I believe most people would want their kids to develop naturally before making a major change in their lives the way no, for sure. I think the funny thing is, yes. And I think I've spoken to people, trans, pan, lesbian, you know, whatever. Like I've spoken to a lot of people, and it's not a monolithic group. It's not a monolithic group, right? It is not a monolithic group. It's not something where, you know, everybody just thinks one thing, and if they don't think this thing, that, you know, people are going to get canceled. That's not the case at all. And I think when it comes to this type of discourse, I think we have to embrace nuance. And because it's very triggering, rise and greatness, I'm not going to go ahead and I'm not going to repost that in the thing. I think the difference between what you're talking about is that we more abundantly agree with the philosophical ideology that makes that thing a very bad thing, right? When you talk about the philosophical principle that we tend to adopt here in America, it's a utilitarianist philosophy. Essentially, it is the belief that good and right is defined by the greatest good for the greatest number of people. It's not the only philosophical principle, but it tends to be how we in America and most places in society govern what's right and what's wrong. I think we more abundantly agree that that P word is a no-no, right? I don't think that there is a space where much of any humanity would need to be extended towards people who choose to go against, a society who has determined that being a bad thing. What I will say, though, and I think this is another one of those things that is very nuanced and I think is very dangerous. And I think this is why we shouldn't speak of, these topics without professionals involved. Supposedly there are growing groups. There are growing groups of people who psychologically are beginning to treat people who deal with those thoughts, supposedly out of their control. So, I think getting to a space where we're able to understand that and extend those individuals' humanity gives us a better chance and ability to help those individuals out as well. What up, Asia? Yeah, of course. And again, to your point, if someone did anything to mine, yes, absolutely. I am doing something. I am absolutely saying that it is wrong. I think from a philosophical standpoint, I've explained exactly why. Anybody who is going to go against something that widely, universally accepted as a no-no, absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't enjoy talking about my situation. But yeah, there would be hell to pay. There would be hell to pay. But that is essentially why what's on Neyo, what came down on Neyo. Neyo was under fire for that. And again, I think Neyo's opinion, he should be able to have his opinion. I think, I don't think that people should be getting canceled for their opinion, because I think, again, as a people, when you're talking about, where we lean socially, we tend to lean socially conservatively. And I think we're all trying to figure it out. If you talk to people, talk to doctors, like people that are actually in the medical field, there's not even a medical consensus or a scientific consensus on every single thing within the LGBTQ. So we just have to understand, we got to give grace. And we have to allow people to come to their sense of understanding in their time. And then we also, in the process, have to figure out how to live with one another. And living with one another is not going to mean, when I see you, I got tension, I got beef for you. I don't think that's going to be conducive either. In the process of learning and the process of understanding, there's got to be an in-between space. And to me, that is extending people humanity, right? On to the next, though. I agree, Simone. I definitely agree. On to the next. Y'all heard about Tory Lanez. Now, Tory Lanez is getting 10 years. We just found out Tory Lanez is about to get 10 years for the Megan Thee Stallion situation. This is how they taking Tory to jail. Tory is getting 10 years. Now, to be honest with you, a lot of people I agree. I'm glad we agree. I'm glad. I don't know if y'all peeped it. I don't know if y'all peeped it, but once we got to that section of the conversation, it got a little rocky, man. It got a little, I agree. It's if people really took a step back and just did a thought experiment on what we're actually doing on this little round sphere of gas and water, I think their perspective would be valuable. And hopefully, you know, I think that it could positively influence how we dealt with one another, because things are very rarely black and white. But yeah, Tory got 10 years, y'all. Tory got 10 years, and the conversation online all over the place is, you know, whether or not he got too much. You know, of course, anytime I think our culture, we get in a position where we're held accountable, you know, we do sort of come with the civil rights package response. I'm not really a huge fan of that, because I definitely know that, you know, white folks get over. But, you know, if you shoot a lady in the foot, bro, you need to take your ass to jail. I don't care who got 3 years or 4 years. I get it. But we can deal with that later. Excuse me for burping. But Tory got 10 years. And, you know, me personally, I think anytime you're in a situation like that, and, you know, the justice system does what the justice system does, you know, it's a little tricky. The case was a little murky. Some of the details were a little murky. I'm one of those people that still feels like the details were a bit murky, just because of, I don't know if anybody who paid attention to the case, there was a lot of, I'm not going to say this. I'm not going to say nothing. I'm going to plead the fifth. I don't remember. And that, for me, as a person who just wanted to know what happened, like top to bottom, what happened, that was a little frustrating. You know what I'm saying? You got Kelsey and Meg getting to the stand, not really telling the full story, or not remembering aspects, or having conflicting aspects. Then you get Tory that puts a witness that puts a gun in his hand. And it's like, wait, bro, you just made yourself guilty. You know, so we, you know, up to that point, we're thinking that this is going to be I was thinking at the time that, you know, based on what we had seen, is either going to be some sort of mistrial, or, you know, Meg's got some witness that's seen it. That never happened. But for him to get 10 years, you know, I think it sounds like a lot of time, but I think ultimately, I think the precedent needs to be established that if you do something like this, you do need to be punished. And I think, you know, as a person that is raising, you know, 2 black girls, I don't like the narrative, the growing narrative that, you know, the society doesn't care about black women. It's not trying to protect black women. You know, I feel like it's almost important. I feel like this case is almost important just to send that message home to a certain extent. Nah, you can't be out here messing with ours and just think that you're gonna get, you know, you're not gonna get some sort of, you know, pat for it. So 10 years, he'll be out early. I think he'll probably have some sort of probation, or he'll definitely be deported. But I don't think he's serving all 10. So he'll get a little pow. He'll learn his lesson. Put the gun down, son. He's gonna be out early, most likely. He shot someone unnecessarily, and consequences are in order. Hey, straight like that. Straight like that. Straight like that. Last thing I'm gonna go ahead and report on, man. We talked about Montgomery. Let's talk about this Cenat situation. Now, I don't know if y'all know about Kai. Cenat is a pretty popular YouTuber, streamer. But this boy tried to do a giveaway. He tried to do a Union Square giveaway in New York. Anybody who knows about New York and Union Square knows Union Square is a hot spot. Malls, movies, all that. But he tried to do a giveaway of PS5s. And this is what the streets look like. Union Square, New York City. All out riots. Now, I ain't gonna lie. I don't know how old Kai Cenat is, but I know he's not 31. I know I'm older than him, right? If I was his age, and granted, if nobody got hurt, I don't know if anybody, I'm pretty sure nobody got hurt here either. But if I was his age, this would be a major look. Like, I would feel like I was lit. You just went downtown New York, and what better advertisement for yourself than a full-on riot of people showing up? A full-on riot of people shutting down New York City all for PS5s. Now the big question is, was it for the free PS5s more, or was it for Kai Cenat's influence? Who knows? He's only 21? Boy, 21, you couldn't have told me nothing, bruh. 21 and I got motion like this in the city? Nah. Now, obviously, Cenat is going to be brought on charges. They actually arrested him a couple of days ago for inciting a riot. He's going to be brought up on them charges because you can't do this. Anytime you need to set up in a major location, you usually got to get the support from the city to make sure that the infrastructure is set up so that it is safe for people. Because from what I hear, this riot, it had trains shut down, had the street shut down. People was on light poles. I mean, you can see it's a full on damn near Freaknik out there. You know what I'm saying? Like it's matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I seen a chick that was standing on a light pole twerking that ass. I'm pretty sure we saw that. I don't know if y'all saw them videos, but I'm pretty sure there was somebody on a light pole twerking that ass. And matter of fact, I think she was putting stuff on her butt cheeks too. It was a little Freaknik. I don't know what it is about large crowds of people. It's like where people just feel like they need to either riot or shake some ass or both. You know what I'm saying? What is that? Anybody in the chat know? What is it about people that when we get in large numbers, we gonna shake some ass and we gonna stand on top of some cars? I'm telling you, y'all, I think it's symptoms of us being in this late stage capitalist society. Everybody is anxious. Everybody is depressed. Money is tight left and right. People can't be in relationships. Everybody arguing about how to be a man, how to be a woman. We're having gender conversations. When you really think about it, every bit of fabric of society is kind of being like, yo, it's being tugged on just a tiny teensy bit. I'm from the Bronx. I know his intentions were good, but he didn't think any of this through. A blue sun living and burning fast. Yeah. And you gotta, and this is a very mature response, a very reasonable response. And it's true. When you move like this in New York, it has some major implications on everyone around. And it's not safe. New York traffic is already ridiculous. I would have been mad if that day. I can't believe he didn't think about the crowd. And it's crazy because, he actually, he's got a publicist. He's got a whole team of people. But I will say, in fairness, I can't relate to his type of following. I got the TPLOCKS channel. It's got 100K plus now. But you don't really know what pull you have until you see it, right? I don't know if you guys remember this in news. Academics, he tried to get some people to, pull up for a live show, and he wasn't even able to sell tickets to that joint. Like they were saying, it was like 3 and 4 people showing up. So a lot of times you don't really know how many people are going to pull up, right? You don't know until you know. So if you come out there, if you're Kai Cenat, granted, he's got millions of subscribers, he's got millions of followers, millions of people, and he is based in New York, but you really don't know who's pulling up until you know, right? I have no clue who would pull up to a pop-up shop if I did it right in the middle of downtown. I feel like I'm small, right? But if I went downtown, in the middle of downtown Dallas, and I had 1 million subscribers, and a bunch of people showed up, thousands of people, it'd be tough to put that on me because it's hard to really know. Like you really don't know your influence until you know. Yeah, I think it's tricky. It's tricky, but I think with 1 million, you're probably right. I'm thinking about this from a thousandaires perspective, but as a person who's got millions upon millions of followers and subs, he's definitely a bigger name. Way bigger name. But it's like, I would expect something like this for a celebrity, like a Drake or like not a streamer. I'm glad I no longer live in New York. I would have been tight at this room in my plans. Yeah, man. I can imagine, having to go pick up your kids from school or having to go, shit, just trying to go catch a restaurant before it closes. You know how it be when you get off work. You know a spot closes at a certain hour. You got a certain amount of commute that you got to do. That commute time, boy. Traffic, I do not miss it. But yeah, I think he was definitely shocked. He was definitely shocked. Had to have been. Had to have been. But yeah, it just goes to show a lot of people right now. I think with this riot, what it really demonstrates is that, you know, it's really more so the frustrations of people sitting at home. Because I think New York, of all places, you know, is a crazy metro area where you got people that are probably going a little stir crazy anyway. Talking about 86-degree weather, perfect weather outside in the middle of sort of like a decent little summer. Yeah, people out there are going to want action. And if you're talking about giving them an excuse to be outside in large numbers with a giveaway like this, yeah, there's probably some people that are just using his event as an excuse to cause some chaos too. There's always going to be those people. And in a city like New York, like I said, you know, I think folks was just itching. Folks was just itching. But you know, this is the theme. This is the theme of all of the topics we talked about today, y'all. I think, you know, as a civilization, as a population right now, I think we are all itching. Everybody is itching to cancel somebody. We itching to, you know, be mean to somebody online. We itching to, you know, have arguments and discourse. Buddy online, you know, in the chat talk about the P word. I'm like, bruh, things don't have to get that combative. We don't have to spew that much vitriol. You know, I'm online lately, and I think one of the things that have sort of caused me to gravitate away from being on social media is just how quickly it's like how normal it is for people to just be blatantly disrespectful or blatantly rude who don't know you. Like if you leave a comment under a post, that is not me saying it's okay for you to respond to me any kind of way. Like, and I feel like, you know, I've slowly but surely started to you know, turn off people's ability to at me, you know, turning off notifications. Because with all this news, with all these people getting canceled, with all this toxicity in the environment, I just feel like it's becoming more and more necessary, you know, especially for you know, someone like me who's delving into this content. It's important to put some safeguards up, man, some checks and balances. Heard someone say he's Twitch's. I can see that. He definitely Twitches Michael Jackson. You know, it's funny. I heard somebody call Lizzo R Belly. They were calling her R Belly because of the assault, the essay. That's one thing about the internet. That's one thing that you do get value from the toxicity is that people and their sense of humor. I love dark humor. So that's one element of the toxicity that I do appreciate. But yeah, man, society right now, people, oh, it says way too much. It's way too much. My boundaries are stronger than ever. Toxic. Yeah, it's it's really wild. And I feel like, and I will talk about this in another video, but I feel like our music now and our celebrities are more and more toxic as well, right? We've always had the Futures. We've always had, you know what I'm saying, the NBA young boy. Well, we just now got the NBA young boys. I mean, y'all know what I mean. We've always had the gangster rappers and the lean rappers and the mumble rappers. But now we're starting to see the completion of that puzzle with some of the lady rappers coming in to put the completion to that yin and yang. And boy, that is a nasty, ratchet yin yang. Sexy Red came out yesterday talking about some, man, I caught chlamydia. You know, my boyfriend got mad at me because he saw a condom in my trash can. And I told him straight up, I'm raw dog queen. I don't use condoms. That condom ain't mine. I'm like, bro, what celebrities are getting past? Why are these the people that are in my face every single day? People that are, you know what I'm saying, talking about murder, guns, and drugs and ratchetry. Like, why am I seeing, why are y'all throwing this at me every day? And I just feel like that's just kind of, it's an engagement frenzy. Everybody is just enjoying this engagement toxicity frenzy. We're enjoying the fight. We're enjoying the ratchetry. We're enjoying the attack. We're enjoying the cancellation. Because, man, folks is hurting. folks is hurting. That's the bottom line. Folks is hurting. Folks' money is tight. And, you know, it's sad. But I'm gonna be here reporting on it, y'all. I'm gonna keep being here reporting on it. I appreciate y'all for continuing to support this channel, even through my inconsistencies. Please believe me, y'all. My workflow, we're gonna get this workflow up to par. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of things that I gotta figure out. I gotta figure out new logos, new marketing material. I gotta figure out where I'm gonna be shooting. I like my backdrop to be a little bit better set up than what it is right now. So we're currently working through that with little kids and everything else that we got going on with work. My wife, commercial acting. We got commercial that we signed an NDA for coming out here, but it's really, really big. That I can't wait to, you know, reveal the video for that. Those of you guys who I've added to my close friends are already kind of hip to some of that stuff, but this channel and everything that we're doing is going to consistently grow. So I appreciate everybody who's liking, subscribing, telling people about it. Because, you know, we're here to stay, man. We ain't going nowhere. Trust and believe we're not going nowhere, even through the inconsistencies. All these channels are going to grow. And if you're here early, trust and believe I will remember them faces for sure. Pamela, Asia, you know what I'm saying? Everybody, Reasons, everybody who's pulled up. Trust me, I remember. Some of you, I follow both of y'all, all y'all, I'm pretty sure, on Instagram. So I appreciate y'all support. All right. But I'm off. I got to go to work. Matter of fact, I'm at work now. All right. But I appreciate y'all. Y'all take it easy. Have a good rest of y'all day. TP Unlocked signing out.